So there is no, even when we speak from lower and higher, there is no difference in value. However, when we are on a higher level, and or from the highest level that we embody, the lower frequencies, they don't feel good. The compression doesn't feel good. And that is our own individual, unique process and journey of to recognize what is happening. And that means to wake up out of that spellbound into that that part of our mind where our energy is asleep in, where our consciousness is asleep in, and it's the part of the mind that offers the filter of the inverted 3D, of a great separation and of this whole narrative. And that's why what we want to bring forth is to say, now that that's clear, no one can miss their marks. Yeah. So we want to bring to you that really look at what it feels like when you're engaging in the narrative outside, when you're talking about it. Are you, some people come to you, or you will be in a conversation and they're very upset, and there's a part of you that engages, that totally resonates with that, that also says, yes, this is what they're doing. Let's just say now, it's the inverted 3D matrix program and its minions, so to speak, but also not really the minions. It's also every aspect of ourselves that is still running that program, and it's just, of course, those people that are completely in that spell, running that program, completely identified with their avatar on that level of that dream, that are embodying and also embodying the part of the dream that is also the part of the egoic mind that is always spinning a new story, always spinning a story to hold that energy captured, to hold the soul asleep, to give the soul that is asleep, that mind, a reason to not wake up. Gatekeeping, 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 stay here, stay here, stay in this dream of duality, because this is where we're at. We don't know anything else. This is where we exist. And so to engage on that level and to look at that expression of the dream and at these players within the dream, and to have judgment there, to put any kind of, to engage in the sense of, oh, what they're doing is terrible, even though on that level of the dream, yes, it is. It is, it's mean, it's terrible, it's not fair, it's criminal, it's all of these things. It's evil. There's even evil, there's evil there too. Okay, because it's the opposite of love. It's the opposite of truth, you know, and it's totally spinning lies over lies over lies. And this is getting louder and louder, obviously, and more intense, um, because it's waking up faster than they can. It's like the boat is, their dream is getting holes faster than they can shut them down, because it's over. It's the beginning of the end has already begun. Yeah. So how much longer do you want to engage in that frequency? I have to close my eyes. How much longer do you want to engage in that frequency? And see also the pattern of bonding on, bonding through being on the same level, being like a match to the frequency of the other that you are wishing to hold the bond with. Now, that's also a pattern coming from the old 3D inverted system. And what we want to do is we don't need to hold on to any bond. We don't need to create a bond. When we are aware of the true bond in the heart, that is not a bond, but it is a oneness. It is a natural uh, love that is there. So we can let go of the bonding, bond having to be like, you know, engaging in that frequency, treading that water. And, while you're engaging in the frequency, you are also holding yourself captive into that frequency. And that, again, is pushing the brakes as you're, on the other hand, you're accelerating. And you're not even pushing the brakes and pushing on the gas at the same time. There is no gas. There is no gas pedal. You have no power over that. But what you do have power over is if you're hitting the brakes or not. Because now, as soon as this becomes aware to you, you are aware that you have the power. Of course, if you are not aware that there is even a brake pedal, that's what you're doing by engaging in these frequencies that you are aware of what they are. You are aware of what they're doing. Yes. So if the perspective that you're engaging, are you engaging from the perspective of your old avatar inverted 3D matrix false separate self? Okay, let's just say avatar self. Are you engaging from that perspective out of habit of the conditioning in your mind and body? Okay. That's why we're hammering this home. We're hammering this home. Or are you engaging from your true self now? And it used to be that you needed a lot, you felt like you needed a lot of courage to abide in your true self and to come and that is abiding, to abide in your true self and meeting another that is used to running, that where the habit is you engaging from your avatar with their avatar. Okay, you know that you have the choice now, that power is yours to engage with everyone from your true self. And when you're in your true self, it's not going to weird anyone out. Because that it's not a recipe, it's not some kind of a system or a structure of how you are to be. You will naturally not bring forth anything that will weird them out, because being in your true self is also, that means you are in unity awareness. You are in your soul stream, and your soul is aware of unity awareness, of unity with the other soul. Because it is like that peak performing aspect of your physical system that is aware that it is a part of the entire body. And then when that physical system is engaging with another physical system in that one molecule of, tissue engaging with a molecule within the blood or whatever, brain, whatever, there is a connection there. There is an interaction there. It is coming from that wholeness. It is coming from that, we are not separate and we are not working against each other. We are working with each other. And when you're coming from that truth, you are in a natural flow with their true self. Even if they were not aware of that, first of all, you're facilitating their awareness with their true self. You're facilitating their alignment by being in alignment yourself. You're stepping out of that old habit of bonding into the true connection. And you can only do that because it feels like, ooh, I'm scared to do that. Okay, good. There it is. Notice where you are scared to do that. Notice where you sense that it still takes courage to abide in your true self. That's the next thing that you want to be meeting consciously within yourself. That's the next honoring that wants to happen. To bring home that part of yourself that is still not in alignment, that is still in fear. But just by meeting it consciously, when it shows up, that's already bringing it home. It is not your role, and this is very clearly, you can feel that. Of course you want, of course, as having a physical body in this structure that is still on the very outside layer of it, that is still dominating the old dream that we're waking up from, the all the structural systems. Okay, this is like a whole thing unto itself. This also ties into the old grid, the new grid. So it is dominating, still has the power because it's losing the power, but it's still, the new hasn't been implemented yet, even though it is the new is forming, the new system is forming, that is not based in this inverted 3D anymore. um, the inverted, of course, is to siphon off energy. The inverted is the death system, is a system of death, because it's siphoning off the energy and going, and that energy goes into the more and more and more and more dense, keeping the more and more dense in form, in form, and because at a certain density, as a certain level of having fallen, the fallen ones, that without being fed energy, they could, they would dissolve. They would dissolve simply. Yeah, and that is what is going to happen, which is, of course, liberation of the true self, because what dissolves is only the illusion of the self, is that illusory self is what dissolves, because the true self is undying, is undying. Yeah, it is the form that changes, but there is no non-existence of it. Like there is no non-existence of consciousness. And that's the liberation that we will all feel. We do it within ourselves, and then it spreads and spreads and happens collectively and goes deeper and deeper. Okay, so let's go back to engaging with the system. So having a physical body and the system being in place, and now as it is very, very loud with regulations and measures, laws, and gatekeeping in place, and also manipulations still in place. But also that, I mean, how much of that is really in place? We know that it was in place. As I spoke about many times, the energetic, the chemical, um, the frequential manipulations that have been coming from the outside, engaging with our physicality in order to keep us in a certain, not keep us, but at least make it harder to wake up to the soul and kind of keep us more compressed. Yeah, compressing the light body. Yeah, okay. So it's not this system is not built to support the biology, and support the spirit. It's the opposite. It was inverted. It was the opposite. Okay. Um, all right. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So what they have been telling me, what they're telling me. Okay. Got to get back to that. If we see that what is happening on the outside, that that we said was is loud and is manipulating and is criminal and all these things, yeah, that I said before. Um, when we focus on that and we see that and we react to that and we engage in that and we fight um, for the liberation of that. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. We are now speaking from this perspective where this is not in the role. Mm. This is not what wants to happen here. Because what the leverage, or let's say leverage, that we have here is not in the fighting against or the fighting for freedom within that system. If it feels anything that feels aligned, if anything feels aligned, this is what is on your path to do, and this is your role to play in the grand awakening. This is how you awaken, and this is how you serve the whole to awaken. What we are wanting you to now become aware of is how dabbling in that energy, engaging in that energy is not, it's like it's already back there. And that doesn't mean you're better. It doesn't mean you're better one bit, because this is what you're afraid of, that others might think you think of them or whatever. This is like the whole old conditioning of the mind. Not at all, not in the least. Everything has its value, and just as much, what has just as much value from the perspective that you are asking to own. You are asking yourself, you are calling yourself in to own the perspective of your true self, where you are already at, where a big portion of you has already woken up to. And you are calling in the other aspects of yourself that are still within that conditioning, to come and see it from this higher perspective. Because once you are in a higher perspective, that is always ringing more true than the lower frequential perspective. And the lower frequential perspective will always feel like walking in too tight shoes. And what you're wanting to do, of course, also is be of the greatest service. You can only be of the greatest service. And what is that in your consciousness, in your awareness? The greatest service is is truth. It's a service to truth. Yes. Because truth is what we all truly desire, what we all really want. Because truth is peace. Truth is love. Truth is beauty. Truth is well-being. Truth is alignment with God, the source. Truth is joy, sharing joy, expanding joy, expanding all the beautiful things that I said, love, beauty, all of it. Healing, of course. which is then the transition into the alignment from being out of alignment. This is what you want to facilitate within yourself, where you want to come to in yourself, and what you want to facilitate then in the world. And to do that, you have to be true to yourself. And this means being true to what? Being true to where you are already vibrating, where you're already in the frequency that is completely aligned. Where your soul is awake, where your soul is aligned with its multidimensional self, with its higher selves, with ultimately with source. Where you are coming from unity consciousness, where you are coming from love, where you are meeting all of your duality that is being triggered, all of your anxiety, your stress, your sorrow, your anger, your misery, your frustration, uh, all of your duality with space, which means consciousness, awareness. And that also means that you are not that avatar self that is identified with that emotion, with feeling that way, and identified with being a victim to the narrative, to the storyline that is happening in your personal dream, in your individual dream. Anymore. Again, this is not something, okay, you have to do this, and if you don't do this, you lose out. This is not something about you can be good enough when you do this, and when you don't do this, when you miss it, you're not good enough. That's that's not part of this perspective. That's the old perspective trying to, not trying, but the old perspective that is running the old program, keeping you, that's the gatekeeper program, keeping you in that loop. Ah, I feel that so strong. Yes. So these walks have been beautiful. These walks are beautiful. And if you feel guided to bring your light there and walk, you know, um, in that frequency, perfect. What we're asking you to do is to be aware of where are you coming from when you are engaging with another, and when you are engaging in your mind, when you are reacting, when the reaction, what kind of reaction do you have, where is that coming from? We're inviting you to be aware. We're just, these are just so many words to say the same thing, really, because there is obviously already that part of you that is aware. And as we speak about this, it is really bringing it home, and it is making this, it is facilitating the abiding in truth. That is why we do this. And that is why we want to share this, or we share this. Here is also, but I think that again is that's the next the next aspect of this whole thing, completely tying into this, is new grid, old grid, and we'll make a separate video about that. Okay.